Hello, welcome to the Craft Channel. My name's Corinne Brad. I want to show you our great Winter Wonderland stamp set that you can get with Craft Beautiful magazine. And if you check the description below, you'll find all the details where you can get hold of it. But I just want to show you how to make a fantastic card which will be great for Christmas or an autumnal birthday or just a thank you card. Because although they're festive in as much as they're winter, they're not necessarily Christmas. So, start with an A5 piece of coloured card and a scrap of light coloured card, and this is a, just so you know, this is a 6 centimetre diameter circle die, and I'm going to cut, and I'm going to knock that card open as I do so. Cut my circle from here, and then rather than stick it on the card, creating two thicknesses, I'm going to cut the same size circle. Try saying same size circle when you have a list, out of this piece of card. Told you I'd knock that card over. And then what I'm going to do is just pop that inside that and secure it on the back with a couple of small pieces of washi tape. And the reason I've done that is because I want a completely flat stamping surface, so that when you use your rubber stamps... Why can't I find the end of this tape? Oh, it's here, that's why. Just chuck the rubbish on the floor. I've got a feeling this is the roll of tape that my dog chewed, and therefore it doesn't tear like it used to do because it's got teeth marks in it. But rather than throw it away, I thought, you know what, I'll use it for things that won't be seen. So, you've got your moon in a pink sky. If you grab a piece of just plain copier paper, and this is mainly to protect your work surface more than anything else. And with the selection of stamps you've got here, I mean, there's lots of little woodland animals, there's trees, there's leaves, there's snowflakes. My favourite out of here is this silver birch trunk, which just fits on my acrylic block here. And I'm going to stamp this up in boysenberry. Let's just move them out of the way a sec. And I'm going to stamp a tree trunk down my card here so it overlaps the moon. So it looks like the moon is just rising through your winter forest, like so. And the other great thing about this, and the other reason that you keep this piece of white paper here, is you can then join up the trunk like so. So it goes the whole length of the card. Let's put one over here, but I'm going to start this differently so it's not exactly the same height. And the great thing about a clear stamp is if you were to look right over the top of it, I'm not doing that because if I do that you'll see my roots in the camera. You can line up the trunk so it looks like a completely continuous trunk the whole time. Let's see. Pop that there so that the branches don't overlap too much. Like so. Normally you would clean this. I have neglected to pack any wipes, so I'm just going to pop it back on my sheet and do it later. Just leave that to dry a sec before you touch it any further, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to smudge it. But what I will be doing is trimming it down and gluing it to the centre of an A5 blank. Before I do that, I'm just going to put a little woodland creature. Let's have the hair. I've just dropped a piece of card that I was going to stamp the hair onto. Please excuse me while I retrieve it. This is when I find out it's not actually big enough to... no, that will fit. ink up your hair, same colour. And these are quite intricate, not intricate, detailed stamps. So they're, you know, like they're sort of lifelike. Not exactly photographic, but it looks like a really good pen and ink drawing when you stamp it out. On here. I'm going to leave him to dry before I touch him. And in the meantime, I'm just going to trim about 5mm off the edge of this card before I pop it on my card blank. About right. Let's just cut a little bit more off this edge because I want an even border all the way around. And this is why it doesn't matter that you've used washi tape on the back of your card, because you are going to glue it onto another blank. Trick as always, if you're gluing a panel onto a card blank and you're not convinced that it's exactly the right same, you know, the same size border all the way around, always glue your folded edge first, because when you then stick it down, if you find that you've cut it too, you know, this piece is too narrow and you just want to trim a sliver off that side, you can trim it off the open edge of the card. You can't trim it off the fold, otherwise it will just end up as two pieces of card and not a folding card. You know what I mean. So there's your blank, and then just double check he's dry by blotting him with a piece of paper. And then use a pair of decent sharp scissors to cut around the outline of the animal with a scant millimetre border. And I've said this before, sometimes it's so much easier. Although these scissors look incredibly cumbersome because they're so long, I've actually got far more control over these than I would have from a tiny pair. And if you're doing careful cutting like this, they're much kinder on your hands. They don't seem to take, you know, they don't make your hands strain so much. Of course, if you've got like an electronic cutting machine that will scan as well, you can stamp out a load of images, scan them and cut them out with a machine. But if you're just making cards in front of the television, it's so quick to cut that out. And then a couple of foam pads to give him a bit of dimension. And then just pop him in the foreground of your card. So really pretty, I think, everyday cards. You know, you don't have to save them for Christmas. Very simple to make, but as I say, it's just a really good idea to make sure that your stamping surface is completely flat, completely flat, and hasn't got layers of card on it, because then what it will do is it will affect how your image stamps. So I hope you enjoyed the demonstration. I hope you love this set of Woodland, really can't say that, winter woodland stamps as much as I do, and we will see you next time. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.